Once your story is completed and you've done everything that you can do with it, give it to a development editor. And I'm going to explain what all of these editors are. A development editor is the person that advises you on the plot. Plot encompasses character development, the time period, the environment you're living in, everything. It's the story in general. After the development editor sends you their edits, you apply what you want or you ignore what you don't. And then you give it to a copy editor and they work on the grammar, the punctuation, and the syntax. Syntax is just arranging the words and phrases to create well-informed sentences. That's all that is. Then after that, and you apply that application or you ignore some of it, you send it to a proofreader. And they just look over to make sure everything looks good. Now, prices for these folks range widely, and I will be open with you about how much I spend. And I think that will be helpful to you. You won't know if a line is crooked if you don't have a straight line to judge it by. First, you can find these good editors through publishers. They will bring people in when their own in-house editors are overwhelmed, or there are seasons when the in-house editors aren't that busy and you can hire them as freelance editors for you. You just call publishers and ask, hey, who do you use when you're overwhelmed? Who do you bring in? And when you're not overwhelmed, what are some great editors that I can hire on the side as long as it's not affecting their work? And I would tell you, every time I've done that, they've been very helpful. They've given me people and it's been worth it. I will also tell you, I know from experience, be careful hiring editors that you meet online in some of these websites where you can hire freelance people. Everybody looks great. Everybody puts their best foot forward. They'll even have great reviews. I've just learned from experience. I haven't had the greatest experiences doing that. My best experiences have come by getting them from the publishing companies themselves. And that's all I'm going to say about it, because I'm not here to knock anybody. I don't want to be like that. There's probably a couple of times in this course where I've made references where it sounds like I'm making a dig at somebody. I'm not trying to. I try to stay away from things like that. I'm just speaking to you from experience. This is what I've experienced. My development editor that I use charges me about $600 for my 70 to 75,000 word novels, because all of my novels are below 75,000. It's about 600. They'll typically base their charges on word count, but I've been using the same person for a while now. We've got a great relationship. The copy editor I use charges me about $1,200, and it's the same deal. I've been using her for years, and it's been going great. She's actually retired, but she says that she enjoys my stories, and I'm one of the only people that she edits for anymore, which I'm grateful, but also flattered about that. I hope that speaks something about me as a writer, I hope. She also said that I don't fight with her or argue with her over her critiques. And she said that that's one of the reasons why she wanted to get out of the industry, is because people treat their stuff as if it's their kid. And we can be pretty passionate and protecting of that. But look, if you ask for feedback, you better be ready to get it, because it might not be what you want to hear. And people who can have kind candor, if they can tell you the truth while being kind about it, not mean about it, you want those people on your team. You don't have to agree with them. I mean, you can consider what they say, weigh, consider, then decide what you believe. Just because they're professional and they say something doesn't mean it is true. Hopefully that's the message that you've gotten from me this entire series, is that there's rules, but you can break them. Yeah, you probably need to show, don't tell, but we've seen instances where telling instead of showing actually works. No, your novel doesn't have to be 85,000 words. No, your screenplay doesn't have to be 120 pages. It's what works, it's what keeps the audience's attention. My proofreader is actually a middle school computer teacher, but he has a master's degree in a literature-related field, and he's an adjunct professor, but the professor job where he has a master's degree doesn't pay as well as being the computer guy at a local school, and so that's his job. And he charges me $100. But traditionally, the proofreaders are more expensive than the development editors and the copy editors, and I don't understand why. They're not doing anything except reading over just to make sure that the T's are crossed and the I's are dotted. They're not really contributing anything special like a copy editor or a development editor. And I've seen proofreaders want to charge $10,000. You're going to pay them? Send it to me. I'll proofread it for $5,000. Do you want to pay somebody $100 to read through and make sure everything looks okay? Or do you want to pay them $10,000? Be careful who you have on your team. People will take money from you all day long. They'll take money from you and they'll make you like it. A proofreader is not going to take your story from a C to an A+. If it's not already an A by the time the development and copy editing is done, if I were you, I would just call your high school English teacher and say, hey, will you proofread this? I'll give you $100 or $250. Don't spend $10,000. That's ridiculous. I remember I was in a writer's circle in, I think it was around the year 2015, and this guy said that he knew a guy inside a publishing house, and he wanted that guy to read his novel and critique it and get it published ready. And he said, he's my friend, and he said that he would do it. and the guy charged him $40,000. And the guy paid it, and I wanted to tell him, that guy's not your friend. For those of you that didn't hear me just say that, he's not your friend. It was his first novel, it was his baby, and he probably thought that if he paid the guy 40 grand and the guy liked the novel, maybe he could get it into the publishing circuit for him. That's my guess. But from what I gather, I don't think it really turned out like that. I think the guy got 40 grand and said, yeah, there you go. Here it is. You know, I've done the best I can with it. Here you go. Good luck. You can also, before submitting to the proofreader, you can have your family and friends read it and ask them this question. And listen to me now. Ask them this. How can I make this story better? And you'll get great feedback. If you were to say, hey, did you like it? They're going to say yes, even if they didn't. That's how our loved ones are. They don't want to hurt our feelings. And you know what? Because they know the author really well, they probably will enjoy it more than other people. But that's not what you want. You want to know, were there any parts that were boring? Were there any parts while you were reading it, you found that your mind kind of gravitated toward going to the refrigerator and back? I have learned from experience. Ask them, how can I make this just a little bit better? And they will have kind candor, and they will tell you. You don't want people to tell you what you want to hear. You want them to be honest. If you're going to be great, you got to have them be honest. And that's the only way. What makes a good editing team? Well, we've talked about all three: development, copy editing, proofreader. In my experience, you need all three of these people to be different people. You don't want them to be the same person. Your development editor doesn't need to be your copy editor, and they will try to get you to do that. Why? Because they want to get paid more. You can't fault them for that. You just got to be wise, and you have to be strategic in the way you get your story edited. So let me say that again. Never let the same person do two of those jobs. Your copy editor, your development editor, your proofreader, they need to be three different people, okay?